Hey, and welcome to another episode of Coffee Chats with Toby. Today, I'm going to take you through what true core stability is. So, to delete all the myths around making sure that you get a super strong and tight core, look after and support your back, and also obviously get you in a prime position for all your performance and sporting goals and needs. So, today's going to be a bit weird and wonderful. I'm going to go take you through a few little simple as hell Google images that I like to use and showcase with all my clients when I take people through this kind of stuff. And also going to do a little bit of a scribble of myself and do a bit of a screen share for you so that I can kind of talk to you as I take you through what I would do with my clients in their education when they're actually coming in and seeing me face to face. So today is all going to be around core stability, what it is and how it is that it benefits you. So before we get stuck in, I think it's pretty important to address some myths and issues that have been kind of thrown out there by different people in health, medical and fitness industries. This notion around our core stability and the muscles that are involved with it. So basically to do that, I think the easiest way to do is get an image. I'm a visual learner, so we're going to jump straight in and I'm going to show you an image here on Google. So first one I want to show you is just how deep we're talking about here. So a lot of people, when we talk about the core stabilizing muscles, they talk about the six-pack and the obliques and those kind of muscles, and oftentimes refer to these guys or the way that we're going to work these core muscles as things like sit-ups or crunches, even planks. I mean, planks are a little different, but any of those kind of movement type exercises. So the actual layer, when we're talking about true core stability, is actually 3 layers deep. So you can see there you've got your rectus abdominis, which is your six-pack muscle. You've got external abdominal obliquus or obliques. Then you've got the internal abdominal obliques. And then deep underneath all that is the layer that we're talking about, which in here is called the transverse abdominis. So let's take you back to catching up with me. Cool. So pretty much what is really important to note is what the core abdominals are designed to do. So essentially they're a grouping of muscles to be the major core stabilizing muscles, which I'll take you through in a moment. But their true purpose is to essentially hold you in a neutral spinal curvature position whilst then performing other exercises or movements. So the idea of them is actually a bit more of a pressure system, and I'll take you through that as I'm naming these muscles and the structures and how they all work in a moment. But what's important to keep in the back of your head is that the feeling that you're going to get when training these muscles is not what you would get when you're going ahead and training all your other muscles like biceps or chest or pretty much any other muscle. The way that you feel these guys working is a bit more like a pressure. So it's like if someone's going to sucker punch you in the gut and you're like, that's your core muscles coming in. They're designed to protect yourself against these incorrect spinal curvatures and damage to obviously that area. Cool. So what I'm going to jump in again, do a bit of a screen share, and I'm going to take you through a little bit of a scribble. So here on my notepad. So basically what we're working at, and a bit of a disclaimer, you're not allowed to get up me for my horrible artistic talent. My mum would be mortified. She's the artist, literally artist by trade, where I'm not. So I've got our ribs here. You got your spine that comes down here. You've got your pelvic bones or your hip bones, whatever you want to call them. And the muscles that we're working on here are actually your diaphragm. So that's number one. You got your transverse abdominis, which wraps around you literally like a corset muscle. Then you got your pelvic floor muscles. And then your multifidus that runs up and down your spine here. So I thought it was important to kind of break this down and draw this out whilst I'm talking to you, but I've prepared one a little bit easier to understand down here. So your diaphragm that sits on top, you got your pelvic floor that sits down the bottom, transverse abdominis, which wraps around you like a corset, and the multifidus that basically attaches from each spinous process to the next spinous process above it, and transverse process to spinous process, and etc., and looks to stabilize it at a joint level. Now, the way these guys work, or the analogy I like to use, I'm writing this on the side here, is it's like a soft drink can. It sounds pretty funny, but basically what I mean by that is when you take a soft drink can out of a vending machine and you don't open it and you throw it against the wall, the can might have a bit of a dent or a buckle, but the structural integrity of the can stays pretty strong and true. And it's really important for you to understand, because the reason it stays strong and true is because of the pressure that's built up in the can. Now, that's exactly the same as your core stabilizing muscles. Your diaphragm actually pulls down when it contracts. Your pelvic floor pulls up. Your transverse abdominis, or TA muscle, we call it for short, pulls in like a corset. And your multifidus kind of braces on a vertebrae to vertebrae level, which creates that internal abdominal pressure, which you may have heard of before. Abdominal pressure. Now, just like your soft drink can, if you open the can and throw it against the wall, the whole can's going to crumble, right? It's not going to be able to cope with the stresses of being thrown against the wall, and that's because you've lost that internal pressure. So same kind of thing happens here. If there's any kind of buckling, any kind of weakness or discrepancy in the muscles, this whole system falls apart. So you might have a poor TA, but all the other muscles are great. Well, that doesn't really matter. Your core stabilizing muscles just simply aren't going to work. So it's really important to make sure that all of these are working individually from one another and then together as a system to brace through your core. So I'm going to show you a few other diagrams here. These are your core muscles in a little bit of a better diagram, not my chicken scratch. But as you can see here, you got the diaphragm up the top, transverse abdominis. It literally looks like a corset. The multifidus that attaches from vertebrae to vertebrae, and the muscles of the pelvic floor, which pull up like the bottom of the soft drink can. The whole idea of these muscles is to maintain this spinal curvature or neutral spinal curvature that you see here in this diagram. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense to you guys. I know it's a little bit of a unique or an unusual kind of topic to talk about, but I just get incredibly frustrated when people are jumping in to gyms and doing push-ups and all the likes and thinking that they're doing the right thing, getting these shredded abs, but as soon as we get them on to an exercise ball, kneeling or standing on an exercise ball whilst we handball the ball to them or throw the ball at them, they just go to butter. So I think it's really important for you guys to understand the concept of the core stabilizing muscles and how it is that it's going to benefit you. It's going to keep you nice and strong, keep the communication between the upper and lower body nice and strong through cross-connect chains and all this other crazy stuff that we can talk about in the future. But yeah, I think it's really important for you guys to know that. Now, the easiest way to do train this system is basically trying to make your body move, or your body wanting to move through outside pressure. So a Pallof press, for instance, is an exercise where you're holding a cable and the cable's trying to pull you this way, but you're trying to resist that movement. So it's trying to hold strong in that neutral spinal curvature. Or even a standing lat pull down where your body's going to want to bend and buckle, but your core is holding strong and preventing those kind of things from happening. So jump in, have a crack. I hope that makes a whole lot more sense, and you can answer it a lot more truthfully when someone asks you how strong your core stabilizing muscles are. Until next time, guys, take it easy, and we will catch up soon.